why don't you tell them how we kind of how we found that agent for the rehab and how we found the contractors and that, because that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it's a good example. This is a part of North Carolina, probably like an hour south of Fayetteville. We never done a deal that far from Fayetteville, Paul. We've done it in Fayetteville, but not that far out. So we found a wholesale deal there. We analyzed the property. I'm like, Paul, I think this makes sense. What are your thoughts? We kind of looked it over. We took it down thinking this was like a no-brain deal. However, we learned some things along the way once we got an agent, because what I did essentially was our plan was we bought really low from the wholesaler. Our plan was then to take that deal and just, given this as a hot seller's market, relist it on the MLS as is. I found a solid agent there, and what I do is I don't go to the KWs or like the national real estate agencies.
It's important. It's important how you find the right kind of agent, guys. Listen to this.
Yeah, exactly. So especially in the more second tier, more rural markets, I don't go to the big shop places. Like I go to the boutique, more regional agents that they've been a family business for 40 years. They know everybody in town, inside out of the market. And I call them and I explain to them what I'm doing. A lot of times the first hurdle is if you send a blank email, they're like, this sounds like a scam, what's going on? So then I follow up with a phone call, explain what we do, who's this northern boy coming down south, type of thing. I talk too fast, I guess. But you build a relationship with them, explain it's legit, explain what we do. Okay, this makes sense. All right, I'll take the listing. Now I'll go to the house and give you my analysis for it. Again, all free. They kind of said
BPO basically, guys, that we're not paying for, more or less.
Exactly, yeah. In this case, we were wrong. So I'm going to give an example where we're not perfect. And we found some issues with the property. She's like, you got to rehab this. And what I said is, okay, who do you recommend? All Stars, recommend All Stars. She essentially, we got tapped into her network. I interviewed a few different roofers. We needed a new roof, a few different HVAC people, a few different contractors. We ultimately settled on a contractor that had a relationship with her. They managed the entire thing. They're going to get the listing. Knock on wood, it's not done yet. We're wrapping up.
We're about ready to list this up.
We're about ready to list it. We're wrapping up rehab this week. And essentially, this all started from networking with wholesalers across the nation, getting basically first bid at that property, taking it down. And again, we're not one trick ponies. We just didn't try to wholesale it. We said, okay, we're going to break even if we do that. Let's maximize value. And we ended up rehabbing it. And
one of the most important parts of this whole story is we bought this property from one of our students, actually. Yep. So he was one of our rock star students, done a great job. So Trey, shout out to Trey, right? And he brought us this deal, and he's gotten into doing, I guess it was, I don't know, it was pay-per-click marketing he was doing. I think it was, right? So he's not only doing what we're doing, but he's added PPC into his repertoire, and he's doing different things too. And he's also rehabbing down there in San Antonio. But we will buy from our students as well. So the whole point of that is we leave no stone unturned. We're trying to find deals wherever we can, even if it's a for sale by an owner on Zillow.com.
Correct, yep.
You want to talk a little bit about that whole FSBO market and how we're marketing that now?
Yeah, it's again, given the lower inventory on auctions, wholesalers we pivoted to. The other thing we're doing now is, for sale by owner. It's easy to systematize this in Zillow. I basically pick counties that we want to target, that we have boots on the ground and potentially to rehab as well, and not just wholesale. And every Friday I go in, I look at the filters that we have set for the for sale by owner. They identify the properties that meet those filters for us. Mm-hmm. I look at them if they need work or not. So if they're already fixed up, I'm not going to market to someone there. Obviously, they're going to get top dollar. I can't come and solve the problem. Yeah. So I'll quickly look at it, see if this house is dated or needs repairs. If so, I put that property to a Google sheet. I say VA, run the numbers on it, and let me know what you think. Right. We then do our second kind of filter due diligence process, and then you pick up the phone call and make an offer.
Yeah, that's the name of the game. And a lot of these we hit that we look at are in rural areas too. So why don't you get in a little bit how rural areas have been like our bread and butter, how we've really done well, and how maybe even how we do it differently with our marketing. Because it's different marketing to, into a city as compared to it is to these rural areas where you have older populations.
Yeah. So, we don't, let's use Charlotte, North Carolina as an example. Everybody's in Charlotte, overly competitive. I'm talking from a real estate investor perspective. Everyone's marketing, getting the same message. They're chasing the same list with the same message, essentially. What Paul and I do is, we're not marketing that way anyway. Right. What we do is, okay, we don't want Charlotte. Let's go where there's less competition. So we're hitting cities outside of Charlotte. Gastonia, Concord, Salisbury, Kannapolis, etc., where we call them second-tier markets. They're like extended suburbs. And since COVID happened, it actually
they've been great. They've been better.
More and more people are moving into these rural areas, and they're continuing to lift property values more so than in the urban areas.
Right.
So there's a lot more demand coming that way as well. So we're starting to see more deal flows from wholesalers and FSBO leads, and then auctions as well in these sites. And for the properties that we want to wholesale in these marketplaces, you got to use different marketing techniques. Yeah. In the past, you might just put something on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace or email your list. But in these more rural markets, you're gonna have less buyers, so you gotta get a little bit more creative. I've sold houses in rural markets through newspaper ads.
That's been big for us.
It has been, yeah. Believe it or not, people still read them in these rural markets. And then
older population guys, as we get a lot of older population in these rural markets, and they still read the paper. Where people our age, we're just going online to look for this stuff. Sorry.
No, that's a good point. Yeah. And then the other aspect is we don't just focus on online marketing in those areas. A good example is we sold a house in West Texas. I think the town population was less than like 2,000 people, if I recall correctly. We basically, since we own it, we bought that one at auction. We took it down, and I actually emailed, or I had my VA find all the local agents and email them saying, hey, we're selling this for sale by owner. However, we pay buyer's agent commission and bring your deals. And that's another way that we sell properties that way.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge because you think about it from a typical investor, they're wholesaling other investors. Well, investors want a cut, right? They want to reduce price. They don't want to pay top dollar. So we, a lot of times, will teach you how to go to the end buyer, as long as the property's in a condition, right? If it's a train wreck, you can't do that, guys. But if it's something that is half decent and somewhat livable, why not sell it to an end user or end buyer who's going to pay a lot more, going to pay a premium in comparison to what an investor is going to pay.
Yep.